Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's your girl Nikki St. Clair, and I'm coming back to you once again with another video. And today I want to talk to you about a young lady's tweet. Her name is Key, and she is definitely setting the internet on fire because she tweeted a budget of what she expects for a man or men to adhere to when dating her. And she basically is saying $40 is never acceptable. I think she put down like breakfast should be a minimum of $50. Just saying that money should be sent to her, basically $400 for the weave and $300 for an outfit. I'll go ahead and post it in the thumbnail so that you can actually pay attention to the list. And I want to come to you in a non-judgmental way because I want to say this. For every lid, there is a pot that fits. And, you know, we all have an audience, y'all. We all have an audience. So if she's putting this list out there, for the gentlemen or the men or women who may have been interested in her, she's letting people know up front, hey, this is the bar that I have set. This is what's required. And if you don't agree with it, then she's not speaking to you. Okay? You don't qualify, and you should not. I repeat, you should not never get offended because she's not speaking to you. It has nothing to do. This conversation has nothing to do with you. If I were to say, hey, ladies, at the beginning of this video, and you're a man, then you would, and you chose to listen, I'm not directing anything to you personally. I'm not talking to you. However, you could listen in. Yeah, you can form an opinion, but should you be offended or take anything personal? No, you shouldn't. You know why? Because I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to the ladies. And that's the conclusion that I've come to when making this video is, I see a lot of men that are really angry and upset. And the lady, she is very attractive, kind of a mid to lighter brown skin lady, you know. She wears the flyest and the weaves and the makeup and the this and the that, and I would say that she definitely fits the industry pretty girl. She fits the profile of an industry pretty girl. Very much kind of sweetie-ish, you know, Lotto, you know, all of the girls who kind of look like that on that spectrum. And for her to put it out there and say, this is what I like, this is what I require, and so many men to be up in arms about things and basically going into an outrage, that lets me know they are attracted to her, but they're not willing to adhere to her rules. So therefore, they're clowning her. They're retweeting and it's like, can y'all believe this? Can y'all believe this? But while you guys are retweeting and clowning and high-fiving, there's someone that's looking at her and saying, oh, that's all she wants? She's totally worth that. She's worth that and so much more. You know, there was a clip that went viral on TikTok, and a black gentleman was street interviewing, and he walks up to a couple, and they weren't black. I'm not sure what they were, but they weren't black. And he spoke to them and asked how long they've been together, and, you know, how much was the wedding ring, and how did he propose? And he basically said, I think I spent about $35K on the ring, and I took her to Florence and for her family. And he's like, well, what Florence? And he named a part of town. And he says, no, Florence, Italy. So he basically flew the family out to Florence and proposed to her and gave her a $35,000 ring. And she wore it with pride. And he was just like, well, many would say, is she really worth all of that money? And he says, yeah, she's worth that and so much more. Well, what do you get out of that? Well, I get a good wife, a loving partner. And he began to name all of the beautiful qualities about his mate. And he seemed pretty confident that he chose right and said that she's worth that and so much more. And I'm just here to put it out there that there is a lid for every pot. And when you carry yourself in a certain way, your equal will see you and act accordingly. I myself, I remember hanging out with a group of women. This is a long time ago. And I've always had this air about me. Always been a hustler, always had money in my pocket. Some would say I lived hood rich because, in my early 20s, I stayed home with my mom, but I wanted the best of things. I wanted to wear high heels. And when I wore jeans, I wore high heels with my jeans. I went to the gym. I took care of myself. I always had my hair done, always makeup done. Very, very feminine. I've just been that way. And so, and then it just kind of grew even more intense for me because when I started working retail, I was always exposed to the latest styles, the latest fashions, what's to come in the next season. And I was ahead of things. So, I was very fashion forward. And I carried myself as such. And we all went away to Palm Springs. Okay? And while all of my little roommates were getting flipped and tossed, going on this floor and hanging out and going across the hall and doing this guy and doing that guy, I maintained who I was. And I kept my posture and I kept my confidence. And when it came time to go to the pool, I had my bathing suit on and my wrap. I wore high heel stripper heels with no problem, strutting the pool around the pool. And let me just to be clear with you guys, I had a shape, but I didn't have the best body. I was no Buffy the Body. It was summertime. It was hot as I don't know what out there. And, I wore a nice curly, wet and wavy, really pretty hair, weave down my back. And, I was just being me. And sure enough, I pulled someone and he was crazy about me. And we took pictures. I think I got pictures to this day of us. And we were just inseparable. And he wouldn't even let me go. He chose me. And he wouldn't even let me go back to my room with all of the other women. I had stayed with him. I didn't have to, but I stayed in the room with him. He had a suite. He had Moet, a sink full of ice, Moet bottles. That was like the big thing back then. And orange juice. And he just really took care of me and did not want me to leave. And when it was time to go meet up with the girls in the lobby where they were all having breakfast, he's carrying my luggage and walks me down and he gives me a kiss. And everybody's turning around. All the women are turning around and looking. And everybody's kind of laughing and kikiing about who they got tossed up with and, how they had fun. And they're like, wow, we haven't seen you almost the whole trip. And he introduced himself to the table. And at first they're like, who is this nigga and why is he here? It's like, why do we care who you are? And he pulls up a chair. Yes, he did. He pulls up a chair and he tells jokes. And he's, chilling, and I'm sitting next to him and I'm just kind of blushing, and everybody's looking at me like, get your company, this is a girl thing. But I want to let you guys know, when that bill came and he pulled out a wad of money and paid for everybody, they were just about done eating, y'all. Oh, how the atmosphere changed. The atmosphere changed. The women, one girl said, oh, you got a new iPhone? Can I see it? And put her phone in it, called herself right in front of me. The other girl shows him on her digital camera her stripper moves, and he's just laughing like, ha ha ha, wow, you would have gotten all my money. And they started calling him behind my back. I just couldn't believe it, okay? This is after the trip, but later on after the trip anyways. But as soon as he got up and he paid everybody's bill, everybody's like, oh, wow, thank you. Mine was blown. And he got up from the table, and I got up and I walked with him, and he kissed me and he said, call me as soon as you get home. And I said, sure. And I want to let you know, as soon as I got home, I called him and he came to get me, y'all, and told me to get all my stuff. And I went to his house and I went there for a couple of days. And I'm saying all of that to say that, I'm a woman of quality, a woman of standards and confidence. And no, many people wouldn't say that I make the mark as far as an India Love or a Doja Cat or a Lotto or a Sweetie. However, the ones that see me, I see them. And we see each other. Very much like Candy said, we see each other. And when they see you and they see who you are and what you stand for, they're going to approach you in an upright manner. And they're going to really, really be a gentleman towards you. So I'm saying all of that to say that, number one, would I have written such a tweet? No, I wouldn't have, because I know who I am. I know whose I am. And I know what standards and qualities that I hold within. And I could just confidently say, oh, no, thank you for your interest, but no, I'm not dating at this time. I would never tell somebody, no, you're just not my type. Or there's been times where a person did portray themselves to be who they weren't. And once I found out that we were unequally yoked or unevenly yoked, I began to kind of step away. That's why it's good to weigh things out. It's so important not to give your energy so fast, because you are initially meeting the representative of a person, right? So once that representative begins to take smoke breaks and you really get to see who you're dealing with, a lot of times you'd be like, no, this ain't for me. This just ain't for me. And I'll give you an example. You know, you can meet someone that's wearing their friend's shirt and got a haircut. I'll give you an example. I went to Taco Tuesday and I met this one guy. He was so nice, and he had a friend, and my best friend, we met. We all danced on the dance floor together, and they bought us drinks, and we talked on the phone thereafter. But once I really got to know him, he began to get comfortable, and he shared a lot of things with me, saying they had been in prison for 13 years. He used to wear long hair, and he used to be a killer, and oh my goodness. I was just like really shocked. But and yeah, I was floored, and yeah, I was a bit intimidated by his past life. But not only was I intimidated by his past life, but the more and more I spoke with him, and how he told me, oh, he works for this construction company, and he catches the train every morning, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what else? What are your plans? Like, in my mind, number one, I really don't care to date anybody who's been in prison for a long period of time, because once they get out, they're always going to be catching up on life. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to pass up on certain opportunities, whether it be someone new, or they'll buy a car for a good price and not check it out because they're like, well, I can fix it, whatever's wrong with it. They did a lot of times. They don't really make grand decisions, and they come out and they're like, well, they feel like they don't want to waste time in life. And when you're moving too fast, you are bound to make choices that lack wisdom. This is just based on my experience. I'm sure there's people out there that went in and just caught a hiccup in a case, and they went in and they got out and they got themselves together. I mean, good for them. But I'm just telling you, based on my experiences and what I've seen, it's just not for me. So I'm saying all of that to say, the more and more I got to know him, he became more aggressive. He says, listen, we're both grown. You like me, I like you. Why don't we just do what we want to do? Why can't we just have sex? He was ready. Y'all, he was ready to have sex the second time I saw him outside of the club. And I really got offended, because it's just like, why the rush if you really like me? And sure enough, I stepped away, and I was all kind of bitches, stuck up, this and that. He just was so done with me. And I took it on the chin. I ate that, and I moved forward. But I felt relieved. I felt, because at one point I felt really intimidated. I felt cornered. I felt like, well, he'll either do something to me if I stay, or will he do something to me if I leave? Will he hunt me down? Because a lot of times men, they don't really like rejection. And depending on their mindset, they may hunt you down. They may play on your phone. That's why you don't let people know where you live, y'all. Y'all meet up somewhere in a public place. And we met in a public place initially, but I'm telling you, when it was on some one-on-one, well, actually, it was a double date with me and my best friend. But you know how you guys kind of go separate and pair off. And I was very intimidated and uncomfortable, but anything could have happened to me right then and there. I remember making up an excuse saying, hey, oh my goodness, I just started my cycle. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to end this visit. And we'll get up later. I'll catch up with you later. Cool. And he just seemed like really disappointed. And I want to tell y'all, this man called me and he cursed me out, and he was telling me as if he was a woman that I should have had some pads with me, and I'm a woman and I should know when my cycle is coming, and I should not have had to leave and mess up our good time. And he really, really stuck it to me. But what it showed me is, if you really want to know what a person thinks of you, tell them no. Reject their request and see how they act up. Are they going to disappear on you? Are they going to say, well, okay, and still try to proceed and convince you to do otherwise? You will get to know a person once you reject their requests or their advances, y'all. And once he finished telling me off, he was like, well, I don't want to talk to you no more. And I said, oh man, well, I understand, and I let it go. And he followed me on social media, and he had another woman, and he said, his title said, out with the old and in with the new. And he took her to the altar, and they got married in their street clothes. And I don't even know what happened after that. But all I know was I wasn't going. Okay? That was not the lid to this pot. And there's been times where I will put my mom's gravy and chicken up, and it will be in a cast iron skillet, and I would just take the biggest pot, the lid to the biggest pot, and just put it over and put it in the refrigerator. It worked for a little bit of time, but that's not where that lid went. And most people would get some sort of a casserole dish with a Tupperware lid that matches, or plastic Tupperware, or even just foil, and properly wrap things up. But no. And some people won't even get a lid. They'll roll half of a roll of foil, aluminum foil, and put it over the skillet and just throw it in the refrigerator, taking up unnecessary space. And I'm saying all of that to say, y'all, stop doing that. Stop being trifling. Stop being lazy. If it don't fit you, you need to move it along. Don't try to make it work. Be done with just trying to work with things and make things work. It don't fit. It's gonna be an issue later. Now here I had this big ass cast iron skillet in the refrigerator with a pot lid on it, and can't fit hardly nothing else in there because I'm being lazy. I don't want to find a big enough Tupperware, or maybe the Tupperware was already dirty. I don't feel like cleaning and bleaching and scrubbing and soaping it up and making sure it's clean for food to go in it. And I'm saying, y'all clown, or a lot of people clowned that lady for putting out the list of her requirements. And for those who were offended, she wasn't talking to you. She wasn't talking to you. All right? So somebody heard her, and somebody is like, well, that's it? That's all you require? Now, me, myself, I had a gentleman in my life, and he saw potential in me, and he wanted to invest in me. And he did. He broke me off right then and there and said, this is what the plan is, and if you're interested, you're absolutely interested. You can make a lot of money this way. And I told him, yes, I'm interested in making these moves. And he put his money where his mouth was, because he saw me, he believed in me, and he invested in me. So there are a lot of people that wouldn't have even invested that much amount of money into someone like me. There's a lot of people that won't even invest $40. They won't even feed you. They won't even buy you Starbucks. They want what they want. There's a lot of men out here that won't even invest in a $10 box of condoms for you. So I'm saying, if that's your audience, go ahead and go along with that. But for those who stand for something, who know their worth, let them clown. Let them laugh. Let the tweets go viral. Let the chips fall where they may, because when the dust settles, somebody's gonna step up and say, you know what? Y'all laughing, but that's my kind of girl. I remember it was a song called "It Ain't Trickin' If You Got It." It ain't tricking if you got it. And they made such a big deal. Women are pigeons. I don't want no pigeon. The answer to TLC's "I don't want no scrubs" came out. And pigeon can't get nothing from me. And all of this stuff. And then later on, my, how had times changed. And men were making the money, and they didn't mind taking care of their woman. They wanted their woman to look good on their own. They didn't want to lose who they had. They didn't want to be broke. They didn't want to be dirt rock. They wanted the best. They wanted to wear the best jewelry, the best cologne. They wanted to get their haircuts. They wanted a brand new pair of Air Force Ones, if that's what they were wearing, or Jordans, or hard bottoms. Everybody wanted to look fresh in the bling bling era, like the 99 and the 2000s. It was important, and we had self-respect, and we had reality TV where the women wanted to wear their hair weaves a certain way and rock this bag and these heels and this makeup, and everybody walked around as JB and Beyonce, y'all. It was always a JB looking for Beyonce and a Beyonce looking for a Jay-Z. And I don't really know where things change between then and now, but you have a lot of people that don't really want to work hard for anything. They want everything given to them. They don't want to work hard. They don't want to sacrifice nothing. They want to take and not give anything. And the Bible speaks of those as swine. A swine will grovel and grunt and eat slop and not even look up to say thank you, y'all. They just eat and don't even look up to say thank you, and they're always waiting for the next drop of slop. And it speaks of casting your pearls before swine. Y'all, hold on to your pearls. And I don't care what nobody says, y'all. And I'm talking about men or women. I love it. I love when men say, you know what, I'm stingy with the dick. I'm very particular of who I deal with and who I go out with. And I like it when they mean it. Not because it sounds good. Because you got a lot of men that talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And you'll say, oh, wow, you know, he sees me as a real lady. And then you'll run into somebody that say, Well, shit, I used to talk to him. And they're like, here you are, sweetie. But you find out he was dealing with a Sukihana. You know, all on the ground, sucking on toes and eating booty and just being nasty. But you're talking about how particular you are. And I'm not saying, if that's what you like in the bedroom, that's between you and your partner. But I'm saying it was done in such a derogatory way and brought to the public in such a way to where it was just gross and grotesque. And it was a turnoff only to those, that fetish after women like Sukihana. They would look at her as a ghetto gagger, a tattoo ghetto. I'm looking for somebody to, do this and that and the other, and just no class having. Those are the type of women that you don't wife. You want to see them in the dark. They wait until after the club. They linger around. They wait for the parking lot pimps to roll around, and they'll never get a drink in the club. They'll never get a rose. Lot lizards. That's basically what that is. So I'm saying there's a lid for every pot out there. Hold on to your pot. Keep it clean and shining, and that lid is gonna find you, and it's gonna be a grand fit. You guys are gonna be made for each other. Find yourself in the right places to find the right lid, okay? You got pots and pans out here that cost about $1,200 for the set. And then you got pots and pans that are $5.99 at DD's. That they scorch really fast. You can't pretty much cook nothing in them. They don't clean very well. The handles come off. The handles begin to loosen. It's just a no-go. Don't cheapen yourself, you guys. Stand your ground. Be who you are. And don't allow anybody to make you feel bad for wanting to be treated right. And don't make anybody feel bad because they cannot reach your standards. I'm Nikki St. Clair. Thank you so much for choosing to listen to me. You could have been anywhere else, but you came by my station, and I appreciate you. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.